From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you're feeling the same. And boy, oh boy, let's go ahead and jump into it. The holidays are among us, and we have our rankings ready. It's week 5 of the CFP rankings as well, too. We have some new storylines, some new sizzle to the theater. And right now, Washington has jumped Florida State for the number 4 spot. Georgia still remains number 1. Ohio State's number 2. Michigan is number 3 at this point. And then you do have Oregon, who's still looming in the background of this situation as well, too. They are, I'm going to go ahead and get the right accurate numbers, but we do have a brand new top 4. Georgia, as I keep saying, Georgia has no reason of being outside of number 1. It just doesn't matter. This team is the back-to-back national champions. It's utter disrespect to me when you keep putting them, even thinking about putting them in the number 2 spot. They are the number 1 team in the nation. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. That's who the number 1 team is. Now, they do have an easy game coming up this week against Georgia Tech, but really isn't an easy game. Georgia Tech has a NFL-type quarterback, so this will be a game that's going to be very, very challenging for Georgia because this is the game before the SEC championship as well, too. And Georgia Tech has already had a fun upset against Miami earlier this year. We know Georgia's no Miami, but still, it's a rivalry game. This team has won their last 3 out of 5. They had a good win against Syracuse last week as well, too. They were also able to have a great win against UNC, who was a ranked team at that time as well, too. They also got a very good win, as I said before, against Miami in the closing minutes. And then, Virginia was a team that was kind of balling out when they got to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech beat them 45-17. So this team is playing confident right now, but that doesn't mean anything going into the game. They're going to have to step it up. It's going to have to be a huge effort from this squad for them to really pull this one off. Now, when it comes down to the Ohio State, Michigan State, they're going to square this situation out, and somebody's going to be jumping back into the top 4. I'm going to tell you guys this right now. They're not going to let 2 Pac-12 teams in there. So Florida State is going to be playing Florida this weekend. That's probably going to wind up being somewhat of a very, very close game for them. I will say this. If we have the scenario to where, okay, I'm just going to give you guys this scenario. If we have Florida State lose to Florida, and then you say you have Washington lose to Washington State, what's going to happen is this. They're going to go ahead and they're going to jump. They're going to have, if Texas goes ahead and wins their game this weekend, they'll jump everybody, and they'll be back in the top 4. Alabama wins their game this weekend, they'll possibly be back in the top 4 too, but they're going to need 2 losses, in my opinion. So Texas and Alabama probably have their best opportunity of jumping into the Final Four this weekend with wins. Missouri is a team that's just there for pageantry. Louisville is there for pageantry as well, too. Penn State, they have 2 losses, but they're 2 very significant losses because it's Ohio State and Michigan. Then you have Ole Miss. They have 2 significant losses as well, too, being Georgia and Alabama. So they are kind of on the outside looking in, but they're probably a good candidate for the New Year's Eve 6 Bowls again. Also, you have Oklahoma, who's actually been kind of shafted a little bit, but they lost 2 in a row. They're at 13 right now. Then you have LSU, who's now number 14, and that's what makes it kind of funny to me that they let Washington jump over Florida State, but I totally understand because Florida State was going to get jumped regardless because they played against a FCS school this weekend. Arizona is a very surprising story. They find themselves 8-3 on the season and number 15 in the nation, just ahead of Oregon State, who's number 16 in the nation. Then you have Iowa, who's 9-2 on the year, number 17, leaders of the West side of the Big Ten as well too. You have Notre Dame, who's 8-3 at number 18. You have Kansas State, who's number 19 at 8-3. Then you have Oklahoma State, who's kind of slipping up here at the end of the season. They're now number 28-3 on the season. And then you have Tennessee, who's really got the bad brunt of it. They have a losing record in the conference as well too, but they're still number 21 in the nation as well. They got some pretty good wins on the resume as well too. Then you have NC State, who's 8-3 on the year, and then Tulane with their sole loss to Mississippi Ole Miss. It has not pretty much moved them up out of the range that they're in. They've been sitting in the 20s and 20s and 22s and 23s all season. Clemson finds themselves back in the top 25, number 24 in the nation at this point. And then you have Liberty sneaking in for the first time this year at number 25, and they have an 11-0 record, 7-0. But you got to remember they play in the Conference USA as well too. That's not the best conference to really get your brag on about, because most of those teams are very middling at best or mediocre. So pretty much with that, it looks like we have another week of some good theater going on. It's rivalry week this week. A lot of teams are going to really be, it's going to be that time of the year where upsets are plenty. And I think that, Oregon's on upset alert right now. Washington's on upset alert right now. Florida State's definitely on upset alert right now. And you know what? Michigan and Ohio State will settle a lot of things when we get down to it. So with that, we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our next topic, and that's going to be this. This is going to be the CBB game of the day. We got the Purdue, number 2 in the nation, 5-0, going against Marquette, number 4 in the nation. Plus 3.5 spread for Marquette today. They are the doggy dog, and then you have the